My wife is turning into a racist psycho hippie person who wants to blend into the younger generation, and it's turning our son against her. A bit of backstory. I, 37M, am from Puerto Rico, and my wife, 36F, is from suburban Kansas City. I moved to NYC in 1984, and she moved here at 18 for college, falling in love with the city. We actually met at a bar and had a one-night stand, and she got pregnant. Initially, we considered fetus deletus, but we kind of fell in love at first one-night stand and got married when our son, 12M, was 3 months old. We are very different people. I am from the South Bronx and grew up extremely rough, getting into fights, shanked or shot at, etc. Just not a great upbringing. I wasn't the worst kid, but my friends were truly bad people. However, I mostly got out of that lifestyle by the time I met her. So basically, we've raised our son and have had our ups and downs, but we are both successful at our jobs and whatnot. However, in the past year or two, her attitude towards certain things has changed. Here's just a list of what I'm talking about. She refuses to eat gluten. This should give you a sense of the stereotype she fits into now. She is now 100% vegan and gets extremely mad when we eat meat in the house. She goes to yoga 3 times a week and cries when we don't want to go with her. She suddenly doesn't like movies with fighting, substance use, or partying, and she gets extremely protective of our son about this. She doesn't let our son hang out with his friends sometimes because the friends are too rowdy and come from uncultured families. She doesn't let our son bike around the neighborhood with his friends at all. She needs to constantly be with him when he is hanging out. She literally took his iPod and changed the music to what she considers good music. This consists of Justin Timberlake, Macklemore, and Taylor Swift type stuff mostly. Our son liked electronic dance music and metal a lot. This was one of the worst things she did, in my opinion. She thinks that I am too masculine in the way I act and constantly tries to correct the way I act, saying I have toxic masculinity in me. She uses this term constantly when I tell her I don't like how she babies our son. She calls the cops on basically any crime she sees, including one time when we walked by a house party and she called the cops because underage drinking was happening and she wants to keep her community safe. One time she also called the cops because a few Spanish teens were playing soccer in the street and she just assumed they were up to no good. That made me insanely upset. Honestly, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This has been her for the past 2 to 3 years, and we have gotten into near constant arguments about this. I tell her she is too sensitive about nearly everything, and then she goes off on rants and tries to show me all these weird articles about how what I am doing is gaslighting her. She also is trying really, really hard to act young. Like she goes to indie shows in Williamsburg filled with 22-year-old hipsters and tries to chat people up to make friends. Then when she gets rejected or something like that from those indie circles, she comes home and cries in my arms and is depressed for days. She wants so badly to be a part of that crowd. She seems to have anxiety and depression issues. I do honestly feel bad for her. She keeps up this insane persona. She describes herself as a modern-day hippie. She spends all her time checking out new cafes and brunch spots with her friends. I know how this started. She got a job at this new office filled with young yuppies. Basically, right after that, she changed into this.